Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Devil S NFL podcast. I am Sam. This is Spencer, and we
What's
are
up,
going
guys?
over our Week 11 game recaps and our Week 12 power rankings. First, we're going to start off with the Thursday night game, being the New England Patriots beating the living shit out of the Atlanta
Falcons,
Falcons.
yeah.
Spencer, do you want to talk about how bad the Atlanta Falcons
Yeah.
were?
So come coming into the game, I thought the Patriots were an upset watch and the Falcons winning this one. But I was dead wrong. The Falcons offense, they could not move the ball. Receivers were not getting separation. Matt Ryan, he was dropping back every play. The O-line was anemic. Defense was defense was honestly great for the most part, but it was not nearly enough. AJ Terrell continuing to play well, but offense, Matt Ryan, 4 picks in the last 2 games with no touchdowns. He looks just atrocious right now. And the Falcons, uh, don't get me wrong. If Calvin Ridley was playing, they'd be 5-5 or 6-4. But he's not playing, as a matter of fact, the Falcons are a bottom 8 team in the NFL. The New England Patriots, Mac Jones, he didn't play great in my opinion.
It's
Like
the
he was
Josh McDaniels
accurate, but
offense. No one's supposed to be that great.
yeah, but he didn't need to be. It's the thing here. Like Pat's run game did enough. The O line held up. Bill Belichick and the Patriots defense. Man, oh man, just Bill Belichick. Uh, let like to make some QBs look like ghosts out there. Um, um, Matt Ryan was indeed seeing ghosts on Thursday night. He threw 2 picks, and so did Rosen and Felipe Franks threw a pick in late fourth quarter. So overall, my thoughts are Patriots are legit as a Super Bowl team, and the Falcons, they should tear it all down.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the defensive coordinator for the Patriots should be looked at for head coaching offers.
I agree.
I don't know who it is, but he should be. But anyway, that was a defensive clinic the Patriots put on the Falcons, and I think every Falcons quarterback threw a pick in the game.
Yeah. 3 into the game, and they threw 4 picks. Come on.
I think Felipe Franks got in the game at one point.
Yeah. Felipe Franks, as we said, Josh Rosen.
Rosen and Matt Ryan was just left out to die.
Yeah.
All right, on
He was
to
downright terrible.
first 1 o'clock game.
Colts and Buffalo.
That's the Indianapolis Colts and the Buffalo Bills.
2 words, and I'll have Sam start this off. But what are those 2 words, Sam?
Jonathan Taylor.
Indeed, Jonathan
I
Taylor.
feel bad for anyone that had to play him in fantasy this week. That was rough. And
Yeah,
the Bills do not look good, and they're now fighting for wild card position when they were supposed to be 15-2. I heard Bills fans talk nonstop about how they're going 15-2 this year.
On Snapchat, I even saw a Bill fan having them go 16-1. So they're more like a 10 or 11 win team right now.
I had them at 12-5 before the year, and I was called crazy. But anyway, the Bills. What happened to the Bills defense that was so good in 2019?
It's been great this year for the most part.
Yeah, it was just been that game and the Tennessee game.
2 elite running backs, and they have not been able to defend the run well at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only does that affect how the Bills offense needs to run, Josh Allen has been horrible the past couple weeks.
Like my biggest concern, if I had a concern, if you were to ask me in like late August, what's a concern you have with Josh Allen? Him playing too much hero ball. He overthrows it a lot, and that's a problem he's had since his college days at Wyoming. He threw 2 picks on Sunday, and he has not looked like the guy he did a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Buffalo will be fine. They have a gimme matchup with New Orleans on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
and I think that they'll be okay. And yeah, they do play New England twice. Keep that in mind.
And I think they play the Bucks too.
They do.
Yeah. All right. Next game we're going to talk about is Cam Newton's first game starting back in Carolina, but he unfortunately lost to the Washington football team. Sam, what are your takeaways on Washington?
Washington. They played a great game. Taylor Heineke looked really good. And I think that the Washington has a chance to get back into playoff contention.
They're only a game out.
Yeah,
No,
a game out.
Yeah, 5-5. It's a 7 seed, and they're 4-6.
Is it
right
New
now.
Orleans or is it San Francisco?
It's New Orleans right now. Oh no, they're tied. New Orleans, San Francisco, and the Vikings are in a 3-way tie.
For 6 and 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Washington's only a game out, and their schedule doesn't really. They do play Dallas twice, but outside of that, I see a lot of wins for them.
I can see them finishing 8-9.
Personally, I could see them at 9 and 8.
I wouldn't be shocked, honestly. Yeah, it'd be a great finish, and I think if that does happen, I can see Heineke being the QB of the future.
Yes, and Carolina did not play a horrible game. They're only half game out.
I was really encouraged what I saw from Cam.
Yeah, he looks honestly not bad.
Yeah, he was accurate. He made smart decisions. It's just the play calling was pretty bad. Matt Rule, he should be on the hot seat right now. Like, he was expected to be this great coach coming out of Baylor a year and a half ago, and he has just been bad, downright bad as an NFL coach thus far. Like, not good.
Absolutely.
Oh, Joe Brady too. He was the main part of why that LSU team in 2019 won the national championship, but he's not letting Cam Newton go deep. I think they should incorporate Chuba Hubbard in the run game more.
I mean, Chuba Hubbard hasn't been fantastic, but
yeah, but he's a rookie running back, and like the only way you're gonna get a rookie running back better is by developing him and giving him at least like 5 carries a game or something like that, to not put all the workload on McCaffrey, who's just coming back from an injury.
Yes, and while I do think that Carolina do have a couple easy matchups coming up. Miami, they played New Orleans.
The Falcons.
Yeah.
I could see them as a 7 seed, but right now I'm not buying it.
Absolutely. On to the next game we're going to go over, being the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. Excuse me. Yes, and I do believe, and the Miami Dolphins did what they had to do.
They got the tank goal, but it wasn't pretty. But
whose dumbass idea was it to start Joe Flacco?
Oh yeah, Joe Flacco got the nod at QB for the Jets on Sunday.
Yeah, and it went as well as you would expect.
He was fine.
They lost. Joe Flacco did not look good.
I wouldn't say he looked terrible, but it's Joe Flacco.
And the Jets are now 2-7.
2-8.
2-8.
Yeah. Losers of 3 straight in a row after the upset win against the Bengals. But I do want to talk about my favorite draft pick this year of the Jets, Elijah Moore. He's a stud. He had 141 yards on 8 catches on Sunday, and when Wilson comes back, I think they're gonna create some great chemistry together. And I think Moore is going to be the Jets' future wide receiver 1. He could be a top 15 receiver in this league. I think he's a stud. Great route running, solid hands. And I've been really, really impressed with what I've seen from him and Michael Carter recently. Jets defense, on the other hand, is bad, but they're starting rookie corners, undrafted free agent corners, second year corners. Like you would expect them to be pretty bad. Miami, I thought Tua played a fairly clean game. He had one bad pick, but other than that, I think he's been looking solid as of late. He has one or two throws a game that make you go, why? Why is he doing that? But he's been efficient and he's pushing the ball downfield a lot more than he did a year ago. The next
Yes.
game we're going to talk about is going to be the we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears and the Baltimore Ravens. Sam, what are your takeaways on Tyler Huntley?
He wasn't horrible, but the play calling was terrible on both sides.
Greg
What?
Roman, Wink.
Greg Roman acted as if Lamar was playing, but it was enough to get the job done, I guess. I
Get
would
the
not
job
start
done.
Tyler Huntley moving forward, especially since Lamar will probably be back on Sunday night. And the Bears, I heard from a source they're going to fire Matt Nagy after the Thanksgiving.
That report, I've been looking through Twitter and stuff. It's supposedly false, and Nagy even claimed himself it was false.
So, I mean, good for me, I guess, because first round pick.
Yeah.
The longer Matt Nagy stays, the better for me. Not exactly for Bears fans.
Yeah. Like for Bears fans, like
They
normally
had
if
so
like
much promise in 2018.
2018, Mitch, I thought Trubisky would be their guy, but I don't know what the hell happened to him. Oh, Nagy as well. He actually, believe it or not, he won Coach of the Year in 2018. He took a 5-11 team after John Fox left and brought them to 12-4. 12-4. They double Doink happens and it goes downward from there.
The Bears have never recovered from the double doing.
Never. 8-8.
They should not have
8-8,
made the
8-7.
playoffs in 2020 in last year.
Oh,
And
they were not even close to a playoff team last year. The Vikings, Cardinals, even the Giants should have made it over them.
yeah, absolutely. And whatever. And on to the Ravens. Their defense played very well. And the Bears, I think they're very close to officially killing Justin Fields. He's
That
out.
offensive line is probably the worst in football.
Hey, Andy Dalton season.
Andy Dalton versus Jared Goff this week. Must see.
I don't think Jared Goff is playing. I think it's going to be Boyle again.
No, I heard I was on this other guy's stream a while ago, and they said Rappaport confirmed that Goff is the starter.
Well, time to pray he can throw to TJ Hawkinson.
I don't think he'll throw to Hawkinson. I think he'll throw one pass to Roquan Smith actually, and one pass to Jalen Johnson.
And then they'll pull him.
For Tim Boyle or David Blah. It's going to be an embarrassing game. All right. Yeah, I had the same takeaways on both teams. I think with Lamar back, the Ravens could be a very solid team, but their wins have been come from behind, and I do not think that is sustainable right now.
All right, on to our next game being the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions. You want thoughts on the game?
This was an absolute snooze fest, a dud of a game. Baker
That was a
Mayfield,
shit show.
do not pay the fucking guy. Do not pay the fucking guy. I'll say it 25 times. He is not a top 18 quarterback right now. He's not the guy there. And I don't know,
So,
like,
how did he just mind trick the Rams into giving him $100 million? I don't know how that worked.
No, we're talking about Baker right now.
Okay, my bad.
It's all good. Baker, yeah, he's inconsistent as hell. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. He was playing hurt, and the
He has like
receivers
three
haven't
different
been very
injuries
good
that
this
he's
year.
trying to play through.
What?
He has like three different injuries that they're
Yeah.
playing through.
Like his ribs or something like that. I don't know what it was exactly, but he was inconsistent. He threw 2 picks, inaccurate. Browns D played really well, but it was Tim Boyle. Going on to the Lions, they competed and as I've said before in other episodes, Dan Campbell has their guys fighting, but their roster is just so talentless that without Stafford, it's really showing how bad they actually are. And
And
I think they could
Dan
finish
Campbell
both
did give up
1.
play calling duties, or he took play calling duties away from Anthony Lynn this week. And I've never seen a team more conservative in my life.
It is the Lions though, like Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, like they
It doesn't
need
matter
like
who cares.
yeah. Next game we're gonna talk about is going to be the Eagles and the Saints. What are your takeaways on Darius Slay this season?
He scares me.
Big
We
play
have to face
Slay,
him
as they
next
call him.
week, and I'm scared to death. But he's a great player. I knew when I saw him in Detroit and when he got to the Eagles that they got a really good player. Last year was a complete disaster all around for them.
Yeah, the
And
Eagles
this
were
year
a
they're
mess
starting to
last
get
year with
back
Lance
into
and Peterson.
playoff contention.
What? Yeah,
And this year they're
they're
starting
they're
to get back into playoff contention.
they're right in. They're half game out right now.
And with a favorable schedule, I think they can they'll get the 6th seed.
I can see that. I think they'll end up at seed 7, but I could see them even getting 6 as well. The Saints are a mess. They're an absolute mess right now. But
They're a disaster scene. After they beat Tampa Bay, it was a roller coaster directly down.
they were 5-2, rolling right along, half a game out of the division, and they've lost 3 straight pretty bad games since then. But injuries, just poor offense in general. It's not this team's year, and I think they'll end up as like a 9 or 10 seed, missing the playoffs for the first time since 2016.
Absolutely.
Um,
And as for the Eagles, they played a great game.
40 points, great rushing attack. Hurts looks solid. Coaching is looking a lot better, and the D looks phenomenal.
And on to our next matchup, which is the Tennessee Titans hosting the Houston Texans. Oh my God! You want to start with the
I
Texans?
want to start off by saying I was talking to someone about this earlier. What the fuck happened to Ryan Tannehill?
I don't fucking know. He just died, dude.
13
Did Adam Gase
touchdowns,
torture him the night before?
12 interceptions that leads the league. He was the most efficient quarterback for the last 2 years. Like, if you told me Ryan Tannehill would lead the league in picks, I would have asked, "What are you smoking? Like, how?" Like, listen, all teams have games like this, but it's Houston at home. Like, you should be able to beat the living crap out of them. The defense for the Titans still looks good. I like Byard. I love Jeffrey Simmons on the interior. The Texans, Tyrod Taylor, he didn't look great, but he didn't need to do much. Desmond King had an absolute huge game, monster game for him with 2 picks, and the Titans put this game in their past, and I think they're going to be fine going forward. What do you think?
Honestly, I completely agree with everything you said. I think this was a fluky win. And the Texans,
Houston still
not the
sucks.
Texans, the Titans have they have the most injuries in the league.
Julio Jones has been hurt. Bud Dupree's been shaken up. Derrick Henry's obviously hurt.
And they released Adrian Peterson.
He was inefficient as hell.
He was awful.
Yeah, I checked like one of the games. He had like 12 carries on 23 yards. Like, that's not running back 1 or even running back 2 material in this NFL.
I agree. And next 1:00 game will be the Packers and the Vikings.
Well,
that was a great game.
Aaron Rodgers, if there was one game to summarize his whole career, this would probably be the game. 4 touchdowns, plays nearly perfect in the second half, and his defense lets him down.
Yeah, but I've seen Packers fans bitch about the refs, but
that was actually an interception. Like, Savage had that pass.
No, it wasn't. He had no
don't think-
control over the ball, and he was a dropped interception.
I think he got it. I think the Packers were screwed out of a potential game-winning pick.
Anyway, but they did not. And the Packers had bigger issues than the referees.
Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, Kevin King, they allowed over 200 yards combined. Tough day for the secondary in general.
The Packers had so many opportunities to win that game. I have this brilliant idea. Instead of bitching about the refs and saying they screwed you, stop the fucking offense. I don't think that's a difficult fucking concept.
Like Kirk Cousins is an average quarterback. Like, how do you not stop him? How?
I mean, there are reasons that he got the big money contract he got, and those two drives at the end of the game were.
He's not a bad quarterback. Maybe he's slightly above average. He's in my 12 to 14 range, but like it's like the Packers, he's been elite recently, and I wouldn't expect Kirk to like score 34 points on you.
Yeah, but the Vikings did play a great game, and I'm
not taking away anything from what the Vikings did. Jefferson had a monster game. He's a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now, and in the D, they were bad, but they came up in moments they needed to.
All right, let's make this one quick. The 49ers and Jaguars. 49ers did what they had to do, and the Jaguars are ass. Let's move on.
Yeah.
On to the 4 o'clock games where we have the Bengals and the Raiders.
The Bengals and the Raiders. Derek Carr, he's been not good the last few weeks. Like, I love Derek Carr, always been a huge fan of his, but he's looked shaky. And the Raiders as a whole, their annual midseason collapse is happening right now. The Bengals look solid. Burrow got the job done. Mixon finally had a huge game, and the D played great.
Yeah. And yeah, the Bengals did what they had to do. It was a tight game. The final score does not show how the game actually was. It was the Bengals had that really great fourth quarter, but the game was tight throughout. And the Bengals had a great game, and they're now, I believe, they're the
6-4 or 7 seed. 5. No, they're actually the 5 seed.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're the 5th seed in the AFC.
I thought the Chargers would be ahead of them, but okay. On to the next 4 o'clock game, the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. That was ugly to watch.
Ugly game. Mahomes was pretty bad. Dak was too, but Cowboys receivers, they were dropping passes. I'm looking at you, Cedric Wilson.
Cedric Wilson, CeeDee Lamb got a concussion. Michael Gallup was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, it was a rough game for the Cowboys offense, but I think they will get back on track. And the Cowboys D play pretty solid. Micah Parsons, I think he's pretty much locked up defensive rookie of the year at this point.
Absolutely. He was a great pick at the time.
Like, I admit when I'm wrong. And like Micah Parsons, I said he would be the biggest bust in the draft, and I was completely wrong.
I kind of thought that would be Trey Lance, but okay.
It was just an opinion I had. I didn't think his talents would translate to Dan Quinn coached defense, but he's proved me wrong.
Yeah, on to the last 4 o'clock game, the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks.
Russell Carroll, it was fun while it lasted, but Carroll, his time is up. And what I mean by this is Carroll should be fired on Black Monday. They can mutually agree to part ways because he's such a beloved member in that community, in the Seahawks organization. But he's out. His scheme is outdated, and the Seahawks, they're falling apart fast.
Back to college with you.
Russell Wilson, he doesn't look like himself, even after injury.
I think he rushed. He rushed back.
I think so too. Colt McCoy and the Cardinals, they look very solid. The Cardinals D look great too. Do you agree with those points?
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the Sunday night football game, the game of the week, one of the best games of the year so far.
What a game! What a comeback!
Steelers and the Chargers, 27-10 in the fourth quarter, and they came back.
27 fourth quarter points from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it wasn't enough. And I don't understand Big Ben's thought process on the 4th and 32. And he checks it down.
I don't know what that was. Like like I still it's hard to watch him sometimes.
It is. He should retire at the end of the year.
100%. Like he's done. Like I think Haskins has more upside right now, even.
I'd play Mason Rudolph over him, honestly.
Um, Justin
The Chargers,
Herbert,
they played a great game, especially Eckler and Herbert were fantastic. So was Keenan Allen, per usual.
and Joey Bosa, he had a couple of huge plays. Chargers run defense without a liability, and Jerry Tillery was great. Najee couldn't really get anything going. Yeah. But I think going forward, the Steelers are in a bit of trouble. Shaky defense, even without their top 3 players, they haven't been up to par this year. And the Monday night game to finish off the week, we had the New York Football Giants traveling to Raymond James Stadium to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sam, what are your thoughts on your Giants loss?
I like to put this in 2 ways. Thank God, because Jason Garrett finally got fucking fired.
Finally, it was about fucking time. Like he's one of the worst play callers I've ever seen.
Maybe they'll fire Dumb and Dumber next. That being Gettletard and Judge. Gettletard should have been fired with Shermer in 2019. I've been saying that for a while, and nothing he's done has confirmed has made me believe otherwise.
He's been around for far too long.
He's been there since 2017. They hired him week 15.
Yeah, I'll go on, and just some of his bad moves include Saquon Barkley pick, Will Hernandez pick, Daniel Jones pick, the OBJ trade. Even though all the stuff happened, the Giants
won that trade just because they still have their guys from that trade.
Yeah, but they didn't really get anything. The DeAndre Baker whole thing, it's been a mess.
He has horrible drafts. All right, let me look.
What I think about some GM's drafting is like, at the time, if say you need, say like Sam Darnold in 2018, like that was a good pick at the time, and I understand why it just didn't work out. But like the Giants are picking Daniel Jones, like that was a really bad pick.
They could have got Jones at 17.
I agree. Yeah, that was a really bad pick.
They could have got Josh Allen, the one on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But they
could have got even someone like Devin Bush or.
Well, Devin Bush had not been very good in Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah, but he still has potential to be a great linebacker.
True.
Daniel Jones, I'm out on him officially. I defended.
I'm not out on him yet. I want to see him in a difference with a new coaching staff before I confirm anything.
I just think like the decisions he makes, it's like mental, and I don't think it can really be fixed under anything. Tampa Bay, just briefly, they look great. Brady played solid, and the D looked
Tampa Bay
fantastic.
did Tampa Bay things. Yeah, let's move on to the power rankings. I don't want to talk about the Giants anymore.
All right. Starting off my power rankings in dead last at number 32, we have Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions. Listen, they're bad. Defense is bad. Goff is bad. Receivers are bad, but I like their future.
Yeah, I have the Lions for the same reasons, but yeah, I don't need to go into much detail. My number 31 is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Damn.
They are beyond horrible.
Especially that offensive line and the receivers.
The offensive line, the receivers can't catch shit.
Laviska Shenault, I want to talk about him. He's been a massive letdown this year.
He was pretty good last year with Minshew.
But like with Trevor, they can't seem to get anything going right now.
No. And
number 30, for both of us, is the New York Jets. A couple things I want to say here. I expected all this to happen, and they haven't been they competed against Miami.
Yeah, it was your standard tank bowl.
Yeah. 29 for both of us, I believe, is Houston. It was a fluke win. Do not get me wrong, but I'm still impressed by what I saw from the secondary.
They fought hard. I understand Tennessee's injured to fucking back, but
They played out of their minds, Houston's defense. 28 for both of us is the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy, he's going to be gone any day, in my opinion. But before they ruin Field, just get him an offensive line. Please, God, please.
Yeah, they're terrible. Matt Nagy's terrible. Whoever's the defensive coordinator, terrible.
Sean
Fire
Desai, yeah,
everyone.
he's been bad. Like you can't let that game slip away.
Yeah, number 26 for me, or 27, excuse me, is the Seattle Seahawks.
Same here.
They are beyond horrible. Pete Carroll should be gone.
Russell Wilson, I think he's going to be gone on offseason as well.
They'll probably trade him for whatever they can get.
Yeah.
And their defense is not good. That final Arizona drive was what they scored was just Colt McCoy. They let Colt McCoy happen to them again.
Again, like you already saw what happened when he was with New York last year, and for 2 years in a row, really?
I'm kind of mad they didn't resign him.
Yeah, he's a very solid spot starter or backup. Yeah.
Anyway, my number 25 is Atlanta.
Who's your number 26?
Oh, the New York Giants.
Same.
I've gone all my rants about them already. I do not need to explain more.
Yeah, 25 for both of us is Atlanta. Do not be fooled that they've won 4 games. They are a train wreck offensively and even defensively as well.
My number 24 is the Miami Dolphins. Words do not describe how much that team frustrates me. Because they were so good last year, but they
were so promising. They showed so much promise, especially on defense.
But they've been better.
Yeah.
I think I had them at 30 or 31. And
I had them at 32 a couple weeks ago.
But they worked their way back up to 24 for me.
24. My 24 is New Orleans. I think they're going to be a solid team next year, but right now they're not good. Injuries, quarterback play, inconsistent on defense at times. They're not great at all.
My number 23 is the Denver Broncos. That they aren't very good. And I don't know how they're earning primetime slots. Maybe because they're 3-game winning streak at the beginning of the year.
No, probably because like they're in the playoff race, even though I think they finished like 7 or 10 or 8 or 9.
I mean, they're technically if they beat the Chargers this week, then they'll be 6-5.
And that game will be the first place in the AFC West.
Which I doubt that happens, but I don't know. But they're not good. Teddy Bridgewater's okay. Everything about their offense is okay, and everything about their defense is okay.
Yeah. All right, moving on to my number 23 is Miami for the same reasons you had, except the one that I've been pretty impressed with what I've seen from Tua.
My number 22 is the Washington football team. They impressed me last week. I expected Carolina to wipe the floor with them and get back to above 500, but they did. Taylor Heineke looked very good. If I call Taylor Heineke Tyler one more time.
You really called him Tyler like 6 times. Like it's not that hard.
I know it pisses me off so much, but anyway, their defense is starting to round into form, and Taylor Heineke, he's maturing. He looks really good against that really good Carolina secondary.
All right. 22 for me is the Raiders. Carr, he looks pissed to be there, and I don't blame him. The D is slowly regressing back to 2020 for him, and they're just an absolute train wreck right now in the last few weeks. Annual midseason collapse.
My number 22 is my number 21, excuse me, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are not good. their defense was horrible. I know they were without their three best defensive players. They're probably going to get Minka back on Sunday.
I think they're getting Minka and Watt back.
And what? So they're going to be without Hayden.
I'm not sure about him, but if he's back, that'll be huge for them.
And their offense was awful. They're actually up for me from last week because of the whole Lions shit show.
Where'd you have them last week?
I had them at 23 last week.
23. All right. My number 21 is Denver for the same reasons you had. I don't really have to go in depth on that one.
My number 19, my number 20, excuse me, is the Las Vegas Raiders for the same reasons that Spencer mentioned. You did a great job analyzing them, and I don't need to explain much further.
Yeah. For the same reasons you had them at, I had Washington number 20. I love how Ron Rivera's turned this team's season around in the last few weeks, and I think it can continue to stay on this path with consistency from the defense and Taylor Heineke.
My number 19 is the Cleveland Browns. Baker has regressed. I know he's hurt. I know he's playing. He's doing his best to play, but I think it's for the best of the team and for him to sit out.
I agree. Yeah. At my number 19 team is the Carolina Panthers under Matt Rule. He should be on the hot seat right now, in my opinion. He's looked pretty bad. Cam looked good, but it wasn't enough.
I have the Panthers at number 18. Their defense struggled. The offense was fine. I'd like to see Chuba Hubbard get more involved, but the offense looked fine to me. But
yeah, Cam was efficient.
I would hold off on putting Matt Rule on the hot seat yet, especially since they have easy opponents coming up. I'd like to see them play Miami before I declare Matt Rule on the hot
his
seat.
play calling, just like in the way he handled that game, just really baffled me. My number 18 team, for the same reasons you had, is Cleveland. I don't know what they're going to do with Baker Mayfield. Stefanski's taking a step down from last year, and they're not great right now. Disappointed me big time.
My number 17. Did you say your number 17 yet?
I did not.
Okay. My number 17, for the same reasons that Spencer mentioned, is the New Orleans Saints. I still think they have a chance, but it's very slim, and that's why I have them at 17. And Spencer, what's your number 17?
My number 17 at the moment is the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the same reasons you had them at 21. They're not great right now, but I don't think they're horrible. They're the definition of mediocre, inconsistent on both sides of the ball, solid coaching, but that's inconsistent as well. They'll be in contention for a wild card spot, but I don't think they end up getting it.
My number 16 is the Cincinnati Bengals. They've played pretty good football. They played really good football last week and got themselves back on track. And I think they continue this momentum this week. But Joe Burrow looks good. The defense looked good. Joe Mixon looked good. All around, solid game.
Yeah. 15 for me. 16 for me is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm a huge fan of what they've been the last few weeks. Hurts is looking much improved. Nick Sirianni, after a rough start, has really rebounded, and the run game and defense looks very solid as well.
My number 15 is the Minnesota Vikings for the same reasons that you mentioned. So I don't need to go into much detail.
Yeah. I didn't actually have the Vikings yet, but at 15, I had the Vikings. Kirk, I still think he's a bit overrated, but he's not a bad quarterback at all. He had a few clutch drives on Sunday, and Jefferson is just an absolute monster.
My number 14 is the San Francisco 49ers.
Same.
They looked good against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kittle's back. Garoppolo looked good. All around solid game. And I think
Debo
that,
still looks great.
yeah,
Who's your number 13?
my number 13 is the Philadelphia Eagles. This may be a hot take putting them this high, but I don't care. They look great. And I think they keep this momentum. And my prediction is that they will get the 6th seed in the NFC.
I can see that completely. My number 13 at the moment is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is having a solid second year. The D is looking a lot better than it was in the last few weeks, and they're in contention for wild card spot right now.
All right. My number 12 is the Indianapolis Colts. And they looked fantastic. And they finally beat a legitimate opponent. And I think that I'm not sure. That's going to be a good game this week between them and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jonathan Taylor fares against like Vita Vea and that run defense.
To be honest, Tennessee looks, or not Tennessee, Indianapolis looks pretty good. And Carson Wentz,
he's much improved.
yeah.
My number 12 team, a big step down from last week, is Josh Allen's Buffalo Bills. They're not in a good place right now. 6-4, half a game out of the first in the AFC East, 7th in the AFC. People were saying they could win 13 or 14 games this year, and I thought that was the case at first, but they haven't looked up to par this year, especially in the last few weeks.
Yes, absolutely. And my number 11 is the Buffalo Bills for the same reasons that you mentioned for them. Who's your number 11?
My number 11 team right now is Baltimore. Fluky wins left and right. I wouldn't be mad if you put them at like 9 or 8, but they don't look as good as I thought they would be. And if they do end up making some playoffs, which I think they will do, winning the AFC North, I do not think they get very far.
I actually have the Chiefs at 10 for the same reasons that you mentioned for the Ravens. But
Interesting.
Mahomes struggled.
Yeah, he looked inaccurate. He threw a bad pick again.
Who's your number 10?
My number 10, for the same reasons you have them, are the Indianapolis Colts. Wentz looks solid. JT is a monster, and the D looks very defense is rounding into form, and so is Frank Reich.
My number 9 is the Los Angeles Chargers. As they looked really good, especially offensively on Sunday night. And I think that they continue that moving forward against Denver and possibly against Cincinnati.
Yeah. My number 19 is the Chargers for the same reasons you had them at. I think Herbert, he's a special talent, top 8 quarterback for sure, and the D inconsistent, but I think both is a huge factor in that defense playing well, and I think it's going to bounce back next week against the Denver Broncos.
My number 8 is the Baltimore Ravens for the same reasons you mentioned. And I believe that that they will lose in the wild card round.
Yeah.
Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is the Los Angeles Rams. I was having trouble with them in Dallas, but I put the Rams at 8. They've looked bad the last 2 weeks before the bye, but I think they'll get back on track. Maybe not this week against the Packers, but pretty soon. I think Stafford and McVay, they're going to figure it out.
Yes, my number 7 is the Los Angeles Rams for the same reasons that you just mentioned the Rams, right?
Yeah, I have them at 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the Rams for the same reasons that you said. Who's your number 7?
My number 7 is the Dallas Cowboys. They're a great team still. Michael McCarthy knows how to bounce back from a loss like this. He has experience. Dak has experience as well. They're getting Amari Cooper back soon, not this week, but soon. And yeah, I think they've exceeded my expectations this season.
My number 6 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They looked fantastic on Monday Night Football. Yes, it was against the Giants, but it was still great football.
Yeah, my number 6 is Kansas City Chiefs. I think once Mahomes gets going, they'll be a top 5 team once again.
My number 5 is the Dallas Cowboys for the same reasons that you mentioned for the Cowboys. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Tennessee. Tough game in general. I think Ryan Tannehill's struggles are a thing to be concerned about, but don't panic yet. I think he's going to be just fine. Who's your number 4?
My number 4 is the New England Patriots. They're fantastic. They look like they're back. I got to see them play Tennessee before I
But they look
confirm
fantastic
anything.
right now.
But they look back, and their defense looks amazing. And yeah,
My number 4 team, for the same reasons you had, is Tampa Bay.
my number 3 team for the same reasons that you mentioned are the Tennessee Titans.
Starting off the top 3 is the Patriots. I liked what you had to say about them. Mac Jones, he's been efficient this year. Nothing crazy, but he's been real solid. And O-line coaching and defense has all been excellent recently.
My number 2 is the Green Bay Packers. They look absolutely
Same.
fantastic. No, they did lose. They looked fantastic on offense.
The defense just it
Yeah,
was
the
a letdown
defense
game
was
for them.
awful, but they'll get it together.
Cardinals are both of our number 1s for obvious reasons. They went to Seattle, tough atmosphere to play in, and won without their star quarterback and receiver.
Yeah, and that will conclude our week 11 game reactions and week 12 power rankings. We will see you tomorrow with our game picks.
Thank you.